Ooh, Annie, how I love you. And apparently so do a lot of other perfume lovers. Nishane's Vanilla Bomb has become a cult favorite and is hailed now as the best vanilla fragrance, an iconic amber vanilla gourmand scent, right up my alley, baby. And now that the weather is cooler, I've pulled out this old decant of mine from out of the vault, of which I have several. This is just one of the cases I cluster away in my closet and sometimes forget about. And I must admit, I've forgotten to wear even one drop of Annie over the last few years. How could I have done such a thing? It would have been such a comfort during the pandemic to spray on this when I was, clustered inside alone. Such a comforting fragrance. It's even more maddening to me because I got this decant so close to when the fragrance was released in 2019, and I never thought even to share it with you then. Hello beautiful people, it's Scent Gourmand Trina here and welcome back to my channel. So the reason I remember to pull out this now is because I came across an almost empty dupe being sold for just a few coins on Mercari, so I decided I should buy it to compare. Overall, I'm pretty impressed with Dua Fragrances, which is famous for its inspired concoctions, but I think it does some decent originals and remixes too. But anyway, let's get back to Annie for the time being. I wish I could share a full bottle with you, but I'm sure I'll find an image to put on screen. There it is, bam. On the Nishane website, Annie is described as, and I quote, a romantic and calm perfume created under the inspiration of a famous Anatolian folk song called Sadi Gelin in Turkish, or Sadi Gyalin in Armenian. I'm sure I'm not saying those correctly. But anyway, as the similarity of the name of the song in both languages suggests, both nations share a very similar culture as far as art, food, and other aspects of life are concerned. And Annie is the name of an ancient city that is now known as the Annie Ruins, which was included on UNESCO's World Heritage List. The only boundary is in the imagination of the people. This perfume is dedicated to ruin any border between people and to empower the wearer to build his or her own empire, even in a situation where all he or she is left with is nothing but the ruins. And that is beautiful and hope-bringing to me now as I think of the conflicts underway in a couple of parts of the world at present. And you can check the date down below if you're not sure what I'm talking about, but I'm sure you do. The nose behind this fragrance is Cécile Zarokian, an independent perfumer who has created for Jovoy, Amouage, Laboratorio Olfativo, Pure Distance, and many other houses with which I admit I am unfamiliar. Annie is a rich, deep, cozy, comforting, powerfully spiced vanilla fragrance. It's well blended, very unisex, and although versatile, I'd say it's best suited for the cooler months and more of a nighttime vibe going on there. It's long-lasting and has strong sillage. It goes for hours on me, which is pretty rare, and I do get compliments when wearing this. It's objectively beautiful. The only person who is not going to at least appreciate this is someone who hates vanilla. I don't think I know anyone who hates vanilla, but surely they exist, no? Actually, I think I'll talk a little about the vanilla factor a little later on in this video. Nishane, by the way, means mark, sign, or symbol, and the house is Turkish, the first and only Istanbul-based niche perfume brand. I didn't know that until preparing for this video, and I'm not surprised because this and other Nishane fragrances I've sniffed are rather more Oriental than Occidental, though geographically Turkey is kind of smack right in the middle. I had the pleasure of visiting Istanbul not so many years ago, actually. Had I known Nishane was based there, or had I even known, I don't think I knew it existed at the time, you can bet I would have visited. Or was it there then? Yes, the house was founded in 2012, and I was there a few years later. I think it's the sappy Turkish rose and all the resins and spices in Annie that transport me east, or actually west from where I live here in Japan, funnily. Here are the notes. There's nothing in that list that I don't love. Only one flower, and it's that beautiful rose. Even though this is a vanilla fragrance, ultimately I wouldn't say the vanilla is the first thing that comes to mind. If you like warm, rich gourmand fragrances such as, I have it over here, Intense Cafe or Terra Mia, which I'm going to review soon, you'll probably like this one. At its core, I'd describe Annie as a freshly baked lemon and ginger cookie, or cookies, bathed in powdered sugar. There are little warm berries scattered in the batter with flecks of cardamom and other spices, and the cookies are delivered to you on a cedarwood tray that's been warmed by the cookies on it. It's so good. Annie is Christmas-like, but to my nose, the spices are a little too exotic for me to associate with that holiday as I remember it, but it's certainly delicious and happy-inducing in the same way. The very first time I smelled this fragrance, I found it arresting and beguiling, and I still do. Even though the feelings it invokes are familiar, the scent itself is not. I've not sniffed anything quite like it. And again, even though I am not able to isolate the creamy vanilla, I know it's there, and I know its role is central to this composition. Despite the warmth of this fragrance, I'd also describe it as creamsicle-like. I think this is masterpiece level perfumery, guys, but you know, I'm biased. I do love gourmands. So perhaps in the gourmand niche at least. And it lasts. How could I have deserted you, Annie? Well, perhaps it's a good thing I'd forgotten about this fragrance, because if I had, chances are it would have been just completely gone. I'd have nothing left to review. Only from memory, and that's a lot harder. Okay, I am already drowning in vanilla, but let's move on now to Dua's Drowning in Vanilla. Right off the bat, we can compare cost, and you can probably guess who wins that battle. If you're comparing the same amount of liquid, a 100 milliliter bottle of Nishane's Annie is on their website $355 US at present, which for me is crazy expensive because of the weak Japanese yen. Whereas for 3 smaller 34 ml bottles, that's this guy here, of Drowning in Vanilla, you're paying around $180 US. Now I've barely a spray left in here, but here goes. Let's put it on the other side of my hand here. Ah, yeah. Okay, so there's less of a crisp, clean blast of fresh green with the dupe, and more of a lemony citrus with this one. It's sharper, it's screechier, and I think the ginger, yeah, the ginger is also stronger in the Dua version. I like less this opening, I have to admit. And the top note blend with Annie is much more inviting, but after you let the bergamot, you know, have its neurotic fit, all is well in the world. Oh, and bang, I get the cookies. In the dry down with Annie, I get a lot of woody notes. With Drowning in Vanilla, I'm left drowning in vanilla with no floating wooden planks to save me, so to speak. And at times I feel the citrus and vanilla are at odds with each other with the Dua version. It's not as well blended, basically. And to be clear, Dua's version is indeed a highly inspired dupe, but not an exact clone. I guess maybe around 80% perhaps? Annie is smoother and it's the better composition, not surprising. So I wore the rest of this juice to work yesterday, and I tell you, people wanted to be near me, and it wasn't due to my charming personality. Overall, yeah, I like the original better, but you know what? This is half the price, and actually, I think it might last longer. If you love Annie and your budget's more important to you than the actual, you know, perfectness of the smell, then there's absolutely no contest and no shame, in my opinion, in going with this less expensive one. To be very honest, most people aren't going to be able to tell the difference. Well, maybe, but hey, they'll love both. I'd buy this again. One note though, I checked the Dua website and it would appear that Dua has changed the label and or the sticker on this one. I'm assuming it hasn't also been reformulated. I stopped my video just now to jot down 4 reasons why I think vanilla is such a core ingredient in perfumery, and a reason why people, even if you don't love vanilla, you love the addition of vanilla in fragrance. And if you're a fan of mixing things up, the first reason is it's versatile. If you're a fan of, layering and things like that, with the likes of tonka bean, orange blossom, or spices like coriander and cardamom, vanilla fragrance is exceptionally compatible for, mixing up with other fragrances. And also it can make a scent more complex and perhaps also give you some freedom to experiment, and it might also make it last longer. It's more of a base note. It mixes well with other fragrances because it's very subtle and it's got these powdery characteristics that enhance other smells without overpowering the senses or drowning out the other notes. And this is what we see with Annie, I think, drowning in vanilla. A second reason why vanilla is so popular is because it's timeless. The sweet and complex fumes from vanilla have enchanted people for centuries. Perfume lovers appreciate the excitement of new smells, but we also appreciate the appeal of beloved fragrance classics, like those brown wrinkly pods that are vanilla beans. A third reason for its popularity is because it's subtle but distinct. There's just no substitute for vanilla, and it's subtle but unique in that it can stand out without overshadowing other notes, regardless of what they are. And last, it's multimodal, meaning it's like gender-free. Amazing vanilla perfumes smell delicious on anyone, regardless of terminology, like eau de parfum or eau de toilette that may bring a specific gender to mind, or cologne. Vanilla seamlessly complements our fragrances and can be enjoyed by anyone, anytime. Okay, my lovelies, my ode to the bean has ended, and so has this review and this video. C'est tout pour aujourd'hui, mes amis. Don't forget to subscribe if you're not already, and ring my bell for notifications if YouTube feels like sending you any on when I next publish a video. I shall see you in the next one. Smell you later. Scent Gourmand signing out. Mwah.